There is a fifth dimension.
About the unknown.
Beyond that which is known to man.
The Garden of Thought.
The Babylon Project was our last best hope for peace.
Unexplained.
Mythologies.
This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call
The Garden of Thought with Jeff Lippman.
Eventually, our sun will grow cold and go out.
You're listening to something much bigger, something hidden in plain sight.
It won't just take us. It'll take Marilyn Monroe and Lao Tzu and Einstein. All of us was for nothing unless we go to the stars.
What you're about to learn will completely change the way you experience your mind, your thoughts, and yourself.
Let's make sure that history never forgets the name.
The Garden of Thought.
Welcome everyone into Garden of Thought, and this episode we are welcoming in Ann Charles. She's an author. She's a USA Today Bestselling author, and according to the bio, she writes spicy stories full of mystery, comedy, adventure, suspense, romance, and supernatural mayhem. Sounds like fun. When she's not, dabbling in fiction, she's arm wrestling with her two kids, hopefully winning, attempting to seduce her husband, hopefully winning, and arguing with her sassy cats, definitely losing. There's no hope in that one, so there's no chance. So you can hear her in the background. There she is. Welcome to the show, Anne. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course. So where are you coming to us from?
Prescott, Arizona. So not down in the desert, up in the mountains. I don't know. I have family that live down in Phoenix, and I frankly don't know how they handle the heat.
I wouldn't be good.
3-4 months at a time like they do. But yeah, we're up here in the mountains where it gets a little too warm in the summer and a little too cold in the winter, but not too bad.
Are you like near Flagstaff?
We're probably about an hour and a half from Flagstaff. So if you think of Arizona as, let's use my face, Phoenix is right around here, Flagstaff's up here, Tucson's down here, and Prescott's over here.
Okay, you're gonna have to do it again because we're a video, but everyone else is audio. So Phoenix.
So sorry, it's Phoenix is kind of in the middle, down a little bit. Actually, Prescott's closer to the middle, but Flagstaff is up north more.
Right.
Phoenix kind of in the center, Tucson toward the southeast, and Prescott is over, midway up towards the west just a little bit. So it's a big state, so it takes hours to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Back home, I grew up in Ohio for many, many, many years. I was there in South Dakota, but in Ohio, 10 minutes and you're to the next town in every direction, just about. But here, 10 minutes maybe gets you to the end of the road that you live on,
yeah.
And then you got to go.
Yeah, the scale of things in the U.S. West changes, I think, like right after Iowa. Like right after Iowa, when you get through the rolling hills, which are, surprisingly lush. Well, surprisingly to someone who's not from Iowa. And then you get like into Nebraska, Kansas, then like everything takes a longer time to go. And then when those states are vertically as large as they are horizontally, then then scale changes entirely. Yeah, I've been to Arizona, obviously. So Prescott, a little south central but west. So is that technically the Sangre de Cristos, or is it part of the U.S. Rockies, or is it just like part of the Sedona mountain range, or do we know they're all the same?
From where we are, we can look to the northeast and see the edge of the Colorado Plateau. So we see the uplift, which Sedona, many people have heard of Sedona, Arizona, beautiful red rocks.
Yep.
They are butted right up against where the uplift starts. Mogollon Rim, it looks like Mogollon, but you'll hear a lot of pronunciations of it, but the one I grew up in, I heard in college, and I memorized was Mogollon. I think it's a Native American name. But anyway, we are looking at that. So it's kind of fun because I always look over at that big, huge cliff that runs all along. You can just see it go off into the distance and feel like, how cool that we get to look at the edge of the Colorado Plateau.
That's
from
cool.
where we are at, and then we have mountains like we look out at a big mountain here in Prescott, Granite Mountain. It's over 7,000 feet tall, and that may not seem big to people in the Rockies, but it's big out our window, and it's cool because it's an ancient. I mean, it's part of a chain that's from when Arizona was part of another. If you believe in the continental shifting of everything. It was way up near to the equator. And I don't know where I'm going with this, by gosh. I'm going into geology, so we should probably stop me.
I know. I was thinking that I mean, thank goodness your publicist sends like tons and tons of people my way, so obviously trust me. Otherwise, if he's listening to this, he's like, no one's not the Earth mantle. Don't go into the core. Don't get Jeff started. He'll get distracted by magma shifts and whatever.
I love that stuff, man. Physical geography was one of my favorite classes that I took in college.
Yeah, I definitely want a geologist to talk about. So actually, I did have a geologist on there, but his it's a bad thing. His specialist was volcanism. So we did a show it was called Shake, Rattle, and Blow. And so we talked about earthquakes and volcanoes. Well, yes, we talked about the Earth's mantle and things like this. But there are specialties in everything. And then part of what I want to talk about was, there's geology and there's geography, and then there's cartography, and like things overlap, but they're not exactly the same. Anyway, none of this has anything to do with what we're here to talk about. And I guess I should point out to the audience that you have written at least 14 books, but 14 books in this one series, which is the Deadwood Mystery Series, which I have lots of authors on, but I mean, I'm not sure that your genre has made it into mine, except that you did have the supernatural in there. But it had to be because it takes place in Deadwood, or at least it's called the Deadwood Mystery Series. And Deadwood is my absolute favorite television show, probably of all time. It's like if I was to marry a TV show, it would probably be Deadwood. And that's because I love it, but I don't completely understand it. And so I had to have you on. So what was the inspiration for Deadwood and you? I mean, we talked in pre-production, but we're going to pretend we didn't.
Okay. So Deadwood is, many people say, when I say, the story takes place in Deadwood, South Dakota, and they say, is that Deadwood's a real place? And I say, yeah, it's been around for quite some time, too. It's actually a wonderful town that they have worked really hard to keep the historic feel to it, with not just the homes, the businesses, so much. And there's wonderful museums. There's just tons of fun things to do. Plus, if you like to gamble, there's gambling there. So you can, do your things in the day. There's tours of mines. There's tours of an old brothel. There's these houses that have been around forever. Just so much history. And then their neighbor town, which is just like 3 miles up the road, is Lead. They're kind of like twin cities. And Lead was where the Homestake mine actually was the real deal, the gold mine. I think it was the biggest in the Western Hemisphere for so long. This huge old gold mine that now is a research center for, oh boy. I have it. I have the book. Nuggets to Neutrinos, sitting right in front of me. So, neutrinos. So it's this really cool lab. They've taken the mine, they flushed out all the water, and they built this huge research facility way down, under the earth. They're looking for neutrinos. So Lead kind of closed as a gold mining town and reinvented it as this town with scientists and all kinds of fun stuff going on there, too.
Like the atomic particle neutrinos, like for like physics and stuff?
Yeah, yes. It's really cool. You can take a tour. You can go up and tour, and they'll show you, you see the old mine, the shafts, and all that stuff that's still there. And then you can see a lot of images and stuff to have to do with the mine. But they have a really great visitor center up in Lead, too, that shows you this. Looking out over the open pit that was the mine, they started digging. I don't remember when they started, but they closed it around 90s, 2000s, and then it slowly just the mining died. Gold didn't have enough value. There wasn't enough in the mine. They felt to keep going. Although I have heard rumors that there's plenty of gold there still if they wanted to reopen. But
gold is not as rare as people would have us believe. Everyone out there, you're overpaying for gold. There's like plenty of gold. It's not a rare earth mineral or metal. Actually, most things that are called rare earth are not rare earth at all. Lithium, however, is now.
Right.
And there's some others. Like apparently some things were only created in the Big Bang, and other things are created every time there's a supernova. So big deal.
Right. We won't get into my worry about helium. That makes my family laugh.
Just try to stop us now, but we won't get into it right now.
I'm like, stop using up all the helium, everyone. There's going to be some need for it in the future. That is dire, and we'll have used it on balloons. And I'll be old and ancient and decrepit like the old woman in the woods with twigs in my hair, and I'll say, I knew they shouldn't have used that helium on all those balloons.
Well, you know what?
So now we're getting into my crazy stuff.
No. That sounds like a plot of your dystopian book.
Yeah, right? Yes, my husband has faith that we'll figure out how to create it.
Whoa. Who's we? You're the author on the book. Who's we? Go.
Well, I do co-write a series with my husband, Sam Lucky, and it's the Deadwood Undertaker series. It's the prequel to the Deadwood Mystery series.
Oh, okay.
And this is Deadwood in the 1870s, like HBO's Deadwood more. So you can see, it's the same story world, and you can see supernatural, creature, all the kind of stuff that was happening back then. So think, what was it, Cowboys versus Aliens, which I know got panned some, but I still enjoyed the idea.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand the theme. Maybe a little bit of tomahawk bone or bone tomahawk, though that wasn't really supernatural. It has. Oh, by the way, you know what? This is not by the way at all, but it's recency. So the movie Prey. I just saw the movie Prey, and like all these people telling me Prey. It takes place like 50,000 years ago. It takes place like 10,000 years ago. And they all loved it. I mean. No, it doesn't. It tells you right in the beginning, 1719, the Great Plains. I mean, they're speaking Comanche. I mean, and there's like French, like beaver rabbit trappers there, and like the dog steps into like a rabbit trap like early on in the movie, and it comes up later. It's like, how can you love a movie if you missed when it was taking place like 300 years ago versus like millennia ago? Like they're like, I think they were cavemen. I'm like, they were native. They were never. It's teepees for God's sake. It wasn't even subtle. So maybe these are the circles I travel in. Maybe I need different circles.
No, but that happens. With writing, you can clearly say, here's the situation, here's the time, here's when this is, and then I've been guilty in different things too. It's like sometimes people skip right over that part. And they're more focused on something else. And then, I thought this character was an old man. No, I clearly say right here, he's in his early 30s, but then you form something in your mind, and then it's hard to get that out of your mind.
Yeah.
And you can't snap out of it. It's like my daughter used to have a kid in her class. I don't even remember what his name was, but my mind said Rory. I don't know. And I kept calling the kid Rory. And my 4th grade daughter, it was driving her nuts. She was like, stop calling him Rory. And I said, I can't. She'd say his name. And today if I saw that kid, I'd be like, here, there's Rory again. You get something stuck in there and it's hard to get it out.
And that's not a common name. So when he turns to a life of crime and they're going like Reservoir Dogs, but they all have code names, and his is Rory, it's your fault.
It's my fault.
It's Rory. You created
like a Rory, I guess. I don't know.
What's a Rory? Rory like creates this whole legend of himself where he's like a super criminal. He's like Jesse James, and it's all your fault.
Well, he was kind of like his hair was a little bit longer, but not long, but just always kind of wild and sticking up, dark hair. He kind of had an earthy look to him, like a.
Can you forward kid? My Zoom link to Rory? Let's get him on this. I'm really interested in this Rory now, and to find out which federal prison he's in.
I know. Well, he'd be 18, going on 19 or something like that. So his life of crime is really getting going now.
Or he's really just entering like the third phase of it because he started early again because of you. So like maybe right now he's like a mercenary in Ukraine, or he's, somewhere in he's helping the Rwandans invade Congo. I don't know. Maybe he's a freedom fighter on the side of the South Sudanese, but more likely a mercenary on the side of the North Sudanese. I mean,
I'll tell you, every time you throw out one of these different things, my brain takes Rory, just like the old days when we had cut out little people in Barbie clothes, and you'd cut out and put the clothes around with little tabs. That's how old I am. My brain keeps taking Rory and switching his outfit and putting him in, a different outfit to fit what you're describing. So it could be so many things.
So we've Ryan Gosling kenned him at the same time.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, very good. So listen, that's the thing about imagination. It's very versatile. So we're Nikki. I promise you we're going to talk about her books. I promise you we're going to talk about her books.
We talked about Deadwood, and that's the book. So Deadwood is a real place. Deadwood is great. If you haven't been there and you feel like driving in and checking it out, it's a lot of fun. They have great celebrations all summer long. They have so many fun things and tons of history. They're doing more now. They went through a phase where it was more adults with gambling, but now they've opened up several things more that it's more mixture family, if you want, or there's casinos where kids aren't allowed, at all. So you can whatever your choice. It's also, I don't advise you go during Sturgis Motorcycle Rally biker days the first 2 weeks of August, unless you're a biker. But even then, it's very crowded and very expensive.
Or unless you're going to hang out with Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan.
Yes. We're actually going this year. Cool Deadwood Nights is something that happens at the end of August. It's classic cars, and it's very big too. So we're actually doing that this year and incorporating book signings and talks, library visits, all that together at the same time, because we have a kind of a fan party every year where a bunch of us come in and new people come and see Deadwood. Because one of the things I did with the Deadwood Mystery Series, because my mom lived there, she just passed away last year, but she lived there, for so many years, and grocery shopped there and got her gas, in town. It was at the hospital. I wanted it to be close to the real deal, so that the locals, if she went to the grocery store, they wouldn't stop her at the, produce and say, "Hey, your daughter's screwing it up again. She's got this part wrong. She's got the history wrong. She's got this layout wrong. She's got this wrong." I wanted her to have the freedom to go around town without people telling her, what I did wrong.
Right.
So since the beginning, I have had locals, they're friends of mine, helping me with, since I'm not right there on site all the time. For example, book 4 is Better Off Dead in Deadwood, and it takes place up in Lead. I go between Lead and Deadwood. Like I said, they're neighbor cities. And it takes place, a lot happens in the Opera House, which is a beautiful opera house. It was on par with San Francisco way back in the day, Again, there was a lot of gold in Lead, so a lot of money was there. But I would have my friend Sue walk through the Opera House and say, "Okay, is there a broom? What's here?" Because I'd gone through it a couple of times, but I couldn't remember, was there a broom closet here or was it steps to the right? And so we made it so that you could read that book and then tour the Opera House. And it was spot on with the Opera House. So it would feel like, Harry Potter land in Lead if you'd love the series that much. So, and they actually really cool. Every now and then they'll do, if you ask, can I go where it's in the Ann Charles book? Certain tour guides will take you and let you see some of the places that happen, things that happen in the book.
So they have the Ann Charles or the Violet Parker tours?
During when I'm there,
when you're there,
they'll line up a group of us and say, "Hey, can and they'll do, we'll do the Ann Charles tour." They're so kind. They're so everybody. It's small towns, and I'm one of them. I mean, I've spent so much time there in my life, and my mom lived there that I'm very fortunate that they consider me one of a local girl.
Well, you're big time when they have the Violet Parker tours all year long.
Right. Yeah, I haven't asked anybody if they've tried to do it. I always recommend go up and see the Opera House and do the tours because it's a beautiful opera house. It burned in the early 80s and they've been refurbishing it since, putting it back very meticulously. So it's really cool to see because you can still see burned walls in some spots.
All right. Well, before I ask my question about Deadwood, the show, which nobody has the answer to, and perhaps there is none, because perhaps the premise of the question is flawed, which has been bothering me for 2 decades or so now. I think we should probably get into who is Violet Parker and why does she get up into all these Scooby-Doo mishaps?
So, in the beginning, it starts with Violet's a single mom. She's got twins, 9-year-old going on 10, and the dad skipped out very early on. He's a fun villain throughout, off and on later. But anyway, she's
deadbeat dads are tight.
She's moved up to Deadwood to live with her aunt, who's lived there all her life, and try a go at the realty business. She worked down in Rapid City at these other jobs, and it's just nothing's worked out. And she wanted to try and get to a smaller town out of the city, and take her kids up to little Deadwood. It's a wonderful, historic town. Well, she gets there, and right away, she's trying her hand at real estate, which she, got all the licensing, but she's not doing so well. It's a small town. It's not easy to sell. And so what happens is all these houses and homes and businesses in Deadwood are haunted. And if you've ever been to Deadwood, there are tons of haunted tours, and there's a lot of talk about ghosts. And things are haunted in Deadwood. So she's trying to sell homes, but she can't see ghosts. She doesn't have the ability to see ghosts. She's not a medium. She's not anything like that. And so when others are telling her there's a ghost here or this has a ghost, she's kind of like, yeah, okay. But here's the thing. We are only ever in her point of view. It's first person totally. And so the fun of the series is what is true and what can Violet really, what can she see, what is real, what's really there. And as the series grows, we find out that she's not just a single mom, real estate agent trying to make a living, that she really was drawn to Deadwood along with several other characters that are in the story because of the supernatural that's going on. And she plays a key, a role in that. She's part of the supernatural. And it's like the sleeper cell that kind of wakes up inside people, your body, as you are exposed to it. Now you're turned on, now this thing. So what happens in book 1 really kind of wakes everything up for her. And so as the series grows, the supernatural grows more. And we have more, it starts out with ghosts and a few other ideas, and then it just keeps growing in what she has to do to try to, help people and save things. And so there's mystery with every turn. Sometimes the mystery is people-oriented, sometimes it's supernatural, which has been a lot of fun because it opens up, for me, the storytelling world. Instead of just, some of the horrible things people do, now we've got supernatural creatures and beings that can do all sorts of other stuff. And Violet has to try to figure out, there's an overall series idea going on, and will she be able to basically save the world like so many other stories? Will she be able to do her part, or will she die trying? And then she's got kids that are also, kind of sleeper cell idea, waking up to stuff going on. And when I say that, I mean supernatural, not anything, terrorist type of thing, but just that whole concept, just to make it clear. It's not about...
And they're twins.
It's mystery supernatural story. That's it.
Yeah,
so,
twins are always freaky.
Yeah, right. So that's kind of the behind the thing, scenes. And it just started with long ago. I was pregnant, hanging out at my mom's, and thought, and the big mine was shutting down up in Lead at the time, which meant there were a lot of people out of work. And I just thought, how would a single mom make a living up here? How's she going to do it in these two, these small towns, this area? And it just started building from there. And then, like I said, the Undertaker series, which we're working on book 6, we decided about book 9 of the Deadwood series people were asking a lot of questions about the past. So we decided, okay, let's tell the story about what happened before, back in the 1870s, pre-Violet. So the fun thing is, of course, supernatural beings don't live human lifetimes, so they can cross over into each book or each series and make it all more fun.
You ever have the actual Undertaker appear in the books, or maybe do the Audible books?
Oh, yeah, Clementine Johansson. She's the Undertaker. She's a female Undertaker. And that's what kind of started it, was my husband and I were watching some Old West documentaries. And this one is about Undertakers. And I said to him, have you ever seen a female Undertaker in the Old West? And he's like, no, I have not really seen anything on that. So then we started researching and exploring and learning. And the idea came behind this female undertaker, and she's not just an undertaker. Just like Violet's not just a realtor, as you know, with supernatural involved. There's way more to her, and she's fun. Clementine's fun because she's 6'1", 6'2", Viking ancestry, strong. She's got some supernatural things going for her. So she comes into Deadwood, and she's not just she's wearing pants. A female undertaker is one thing. Oh my gosh! And then she wears pants. She can fight like the Dickens. She gets into brawls because guys challenge her. She's this big woman. Are you a man? Are you just all kinds of fun stuff. It's not like real controversy. She's protective of
is she
soiled doves.
Is she more Lagatha from Vikings or Brienne Tarth from Game of Thrones, or is she sort of in the middle, more just like a Valkyrie or like Freya from Norse mythology?
Maybe the latter, because for one thing, I haven't seen the Vikings that much, and so I can't definitively say. But we wanted, because she is what she is, which I can tell you from the start if you read the Undertaker series, Clementine is a slayer. So she's come to town to clean up the messes, take care of trouble. She's been brought in, and that's kind of the beginning. You'll learn that right in book 1, so not giving away like secrets. And she's there to take out the trash kind of idea. And there's a lot of bad stuff going on in Deadwood, supernaturally bad at this point. So she's a slayer that has come to town, and she's starting out as an undertaker because what a great way to find out why people are dying, what's going on, how they're being killed. If you're the undertaker, you can figure things out like that, and you can get an idea of what's occurring by the deaths that are coming in.
Yeah, and if you're supernatural, you have means at your disposal that, say, I wouldn't have.
Right.
I hate to compare works to works, but I don't know any other way to try to do it. And my knowledge of works is, somewhat limited, but probably that's good because anyone in the audience probably say. So, is this more like True Blood, like Bon Tom? Is it more like one of those Vampire Diaries books? Or what was something, Tess Richardson, where everyone was a creature of some sort, or is it nothing like any of those at all?
So not really vampires. It's one of the ads we just were placing online was Deadwood. HBO's Deadwood meets Supernatural. But again, there are supernatural beasts, and what we do. One of the fun parts of this with this series and both series is digging into mythology and the monsters, the stuff over time, with the concept of what if the monsters, for example. So I write this series called the Dig-Site series. It's archaeology, it's Maya, it's supernatural, mystery, archaeology, all that fun stuff together. And the concept I have for that, if anyone's ever looked at, Maya mythology, their beliefs, their religion, they have all kinds of gods and creatures and stuff. What if that was based on truth? What if they were real? And over time, they've slinked back and hidden away for now. And so it's become myth, but it's all based on truth, that there really were some of these, these beings that they show in their glyphs and in their paintings and on their reports. What if this was all real? And taking that idea into Norse mythology, Germanic folklore, all that good stuff. What if these creatures, they were real? They just, over time, they backed down because humanity grew. But what if they're coming back because they're taking back this space?
So it's sort of like American Gods.
See, I haven't seen that either. You're giving me all kinds of shows that I need to write down and watch when...
I'd recommend reading it over. I mean, Neil Gaiman sort of canceled, but some of his works are magnificent. I mean, I was going to make a snarky comment of that, that's exactly what happened, except these things made it into our holy books instead. Oh. But I'm not going to make that comment, even though I just made that comment.
So that's kind of the concept behind the supernatural. And there's a whole, we've mapped out what's going on in the supernatural world, what's going on in the non-supernatural world. where the crossover. We do all that kind of stuff as we, with each book we build it. So what this is, the Deadwood series, the Deadwood Undertaker series, my world actually, because the Maya series is tied in too. It's Violet Parker's brother down there.
Oh.
And he has also, he's slightly supernatural. There's some stuff going on with him that's coming to life because of what's been going on with the world. So, it's a fun blend. If you like one of the series and you like the characters, sometimes you'll see those characters cross over into the other series when, where they can. And it's just wonderful to get to build this world, and the Jackrabbit series, which is a fourth series I write, that does not have the supernatural, but it's Violet Parker's neighbors. And it's still, there's a lot of history involved. It takes place in Southeast Arizona at an RV park area with mines all around. So there's been a lot of things happening hidden in mines. It was one of the people that used to live there fenced stolen goods and, on the black market. So there's a lot of trouble down there because he hid everything and stole stuff. He fenced the feds stuff. So
he fenced off his fencing.
And so I have characters crossing over from Deadwood down to there, and
wait. Could it be that the stuff that he fenced, that he was fencing equipment?
Oh, wouldn't that be wonderful? I should have them stumble across pieces of fencing.
Oh, yeah, like Olympic fencing stuff, like those silly masks and those white uniforms and foils and things.
Oh, yeah, that kind of fencing.
Rapiers,
I was actually thinking of fencing, but you're
sure.
Fighting fencing, which is even more fun.
Why limit ourselves? All sorts of like ancient fencing, the sword fighting fencing, sure, and anything. Exactly. I'm sure there's other words that fencing applies to as well. Yeah, all of it. Yeah, you're welcome. Use it all. Run with that stuff.
I'm gonna pull that in, right?
All right, I think I'm going to ask my question now, and in pre-production you told me you only watched the show Deadwood once, but as an author and an artist, you probably are more attuned to these types of things than I am. So I love Deadwood, and one of the reasons I love Deadwood is because you sort of had your main characters, your protagonists, and then you had your backup characters, and then you had characters who were in the background, but they were the chorus, and so it occurred to me that I learned about the chorus in, high school or whatever. We did Greek mythology, not Greek mythology, but the Greek tragedies and comedies. And I think there was also choruses in Shakespeare. It probably ended somewhere after that. So somewhere between, 3,000 years ago and 300 years ago or 200 years ago, we had choruses. And this whole thing is, what play or plays was Deadwood supposed to be? Because I can't figure that out because I don't know plays well enough to know it. I just know that I'm watching the chorus, so I'm assuming it's one of those when they did like "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" and everyone's telling me that's the Odyssey, and I read the Odyssey and I saw that movie and like, this isn't the Odyssey. But people assure me it was the Odyssey. So which play or plays was Deadwood supposed to be? I'm just not. I just didn't know what it was, and maybe it's not. Maybe he made his own thing.
David Milner, wasn't that the guy that created?
You'd think I would know this, but I don't.
Yeah. So I'm going through my mind as you're talking and going off, following you on that tangent of "Oh God, where art thou?" as being the Odyssey, trying to make that work.
Yeah, no, I couldn't make that work either.
And I have a huge thick book, Shakespeare. One of the things I had to take in college was Shakespeare. We had to go through all his plays. I hadn't ever thought of HBO's Deadwood as a play. I had never thought to take a look at it in that light. I should ask my mother-in-law. She's a retired English teacher.
Oh, yeah. Asking a mother-in-law something, though. That's a risky proposition.
Plays. Well, and she's gone to the Oregon Shakespeare Festival all her life. She's huge on plays. She's huge on Shakespeare. I'm going to ask her that. She's coming to visit here in a few weeks and see if she knows, because I don't know plays well enough. I did Little Orphan Annie in 4th grade. So I could tell you that. I was a sweeper, which was the chorus, right? I was back there sweeping throughout the songs and singing along.
It was a hard knock life.
It was. I still can't get those songs stick in my head. But I had never thought of it. I'd have to go back through it, and it's something. One of these days, I do want to go back and watch all the Deadwood.
See, you're very clever here. You're somebody who writes a series of books, and you're trying to book yourself back here again. And if you want to talk about Deadwood, the show, I mean, we could certainly just listen. Before I end this show, we're not this episode, but the show itself. I will do a Deadwood show. I will cover all the things I love, whether or not the audience likes it or not, which is sort of the theme of the show anyway. I cover things whether the audience likes it or not. Yeah. All right. So back to Violet. So she is sort of Viking-esque. She has sort of lingering supernatural. She's got DNA of the ancients and the gods or the semi-gods in her. She didn't really know it, but it wakens in Deadwood.
It's fun. She's the Black Forest in Germany. That's where her family hails from long ago. So she's from that area. When we're talking supernatural,
is that Teutonic? Is that the
Clementine in the Undertaker series is Viking Nordic area. We have another similar character that is French origins, and so she comes in with her, they're females. They're all females. So this line. There's males that have all different parts too, but this particular thing that Violet is, she's, it goes down to the line to the females. And I think of Violet, she does not have the finesse of the French-based character. She's a juggernaut. She does best with swinging. Superstar at softball and things in high school, didn't know why, but she could bat that, ball out of the park. Comes in like a juggernaut, big and strong. Which is fun because, she's like in her mid-30s, mom, nearly 10-year-old kids. She's been doing all this other stuff. And suddenly, I always wondered why I could do this, type of thing. And it's not like the Hulk, she turned, it's just more of a subtlety that is there, a wiliness, a way with which she handles these mysteries, supernatural and non-supernatural.
She just never had an opportunity before to be Xena warrior princess, and now all of a sudden she did.
And that was the thing I wanted from the start. I didn't want Violet to be perfect. She's not, perfectly spelled, this superhero type, tight clothes, perfectly shaped, all that stuff. She's had twins, for Christ's sake. That does something to your waistline, usually, whether you like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you have plastic surgery, you're a little in trouble. So she's not, and she hates running. She only runs after the ice cream truck, kind of an attitude. Exercising is not her thing. She's just getting by in life. But she's a scrapper, and she doesn't give up. She keeps getting up when she gets knocked down. And she's a juggernaut when she swings. So that's the fun, of Violet. And a lot of people can relate to her because of these parts of her that, it's not a perfect, this amazing, super perfect, beautiful, woman. You can relate to her on many fronts.
Well, you told me that the real estate thing wasn't really working out for her. How does she pay her bills?
She does. She does sell houses, and she makes enough. And as time goes on, she's building her business. But one of the first problems in book 1 is, will she be able to sell before the deadline when the boss that owns the company that hired her said, if you can't sell by this date, then I have to let you go. She's on probation. Like, any job, you're on probation.
Right.
If she can't deliver one house within so many months, she's gone. And so that's part of her stress is, can I deliver a house? And she's not made of money. Like I said, she lives with her aunt. Her aunt is helping out a lot, especially at the beginning. As the time goes on, she gets a few more buyers and she's doing better. At one point, it's really fun. There's a paranormal realty show that comes to town. And so we've got these people, like all the ghost shows you see, where they're going to it's kind of fun. So that's included. It's a wild ride through 14 books. I'll be working on 15 starting. I'm finishing up Dig Site 3. Then I have to write the 7th Jackrabbit book. We're working on Undertaker 6. Deadwood 15 comes after that. So I've got the planes lined up, getting them cleared, ready to go,
Who is the air traffic controller here? Is it the muses in your head? Is it your publisher? Do you have a business manager? Like who just, like you just said, like very definitively, I've got to do this book, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, then I'm doing that. Is that just something you've laid out because it's a way for you to survive, or do you have like deadlines for the different series imparted by you or imposed upon you by someone else?
I'm mostly indie. So it's I call it the mean left brain, and she's very hard on she's very bossy. And I don't like it, when the boss lays down a deadline, if I don't make it, then she gets pretty.
So she's Boudica Violet.
There you go. She's hard on me. So it's just it's what I've always done. I've had like this, drive to make things happen. And I don't always hit deadlines. Life keeps happening and knocking me off course. And I have to shift and say, okay, the book will now be out this, or, I have to skip doing this book because I had this thing happen in life. So I'm going to write another Deadwood. There's a reason I'm on Deadwood 15, and that's because it is the first and the most popular. The others are popular too, but the Deadwood series has been to date the one that brings people in, and partly because in Deadwood, my books are all over the place in Deadwood and Lean and around the Black Hills because friends and those are helping me reach new readers. So I get to be in stores and in all kinds of places. It's really wonderful. It's so wonderful. I love going back to Deadwood and Lead whenever I can because the people are great. The place is fun. It's a good time every time I go.
You said you co-write a series with your husband. Was he a writer before as well? Does he do independent books as well?
He was, when I met him, he was a cartographer. I tell you that because of our earlier discussion. Yes, he actually was a cartographer for a backing company. And, but I remember I said his mom was an English teacher.
Yes, so, I do, but I might need to book your husband if he's bookable. I have okay. The most boring questions on earth to ask. Like, I want to know what's the difference between a river, a stream, and a brook. I want to know what's the difference between a hill and a mountain. I want to know what's the difference between a cay and a bay, and what's the difference between the sea and the Gulf. And
man, he's got it all. He did that for years.
Exactly. This is. And dear listeners, this is the one you put on when you have insomnia. You want to go to sleep. But I want this show. I want
to get your answers. Yeah, that's what we travel so well together because I love physical geography. I love geology. I love all that kind of stuff. I geek about it. So I'm always like, how did this form? And we'll go places, especially in the West. And, how did this formation start? What was this? Was this a volcanic throat? What the heck was this thing?
Exactly.
And how did this come about?
Yeah.
And we love to travel together road tripping because we take those books with roadside geology and we just discuss our poor kids. If we're not discussing fake people that in stories that we're making up lives for, then we're discussing, how did that mountain come to be? Was it uplift? Was it this? Was it that? What caused it? So,
but these things play into geopolitics also, and I'm not going to bore the audience with me babbling about this again. But I will when I have the cartographer on. But and my geopolitics people.
If you're interested, we can talk afterwards, and I'll talk to him about it because he did that for years. It's fun. It's like a secret power for a lot of people when he'll say, "Yeah, I was a cartographer," and some people are like, "Yeah, whatever." But then you'll find the people that go, "Oh my gosh, this is what you did," and it's like, "Yeah, it was a great job."
See, in my original life, I had a friend whose brother was a cartographer, but in my original life, I was a dullard. So I thought that seemed even duller than me. So I wasn't interested. And now it's like wow, I can't believe I lost that connect. So all right, this is very exciting. But like, I don't want to give short shrift to my actual prime guest here. So
it's okay. We write the books together. But yeah, he's always been there. I mean, since I've started. He was almost at the beginning. He was there and supportive, as life went on. And he stepped into the business more and more as the years went on because of many things. And then he wrote some short stories and whatnot. And then when this opportunity came to write the Undertaker series that we came up with, he was like, "I'd like to do this because there's so much research involved. It's history." and he really wanted to dig into the research part and enjoy that. So he dug in, and then he went, and it's just wonderful. The two of us together. It's not like we each sing our own song. It's like we sing, together. Our words come together. We do it that way, where it's a mixture. And some people say, well, this sounded more like you, Ann, and this sounds like Sam. And I think, how do you know? Because I don't even remember when we're done, really who wrote what. It was all just blended together.
It could just be projection. It'd be funny if you look back and they're entirely wrong. They have it entirely backwards or whatever. Or was.
I can tell you, he writes songs in the book, not like long, but he'll have they're at the bar, the saloon where there's showgirls singing, and one will sing this little short bit. It's just a couple lines, and it's wonderful. And then our narrator, Jason Culp, he'll sing the song when he reads the story does the narration for the audiobook. He'll sing it. And it's just so much fun.
I mean, first of all, is Jason Culp related to Robert Culp?
Yes.
Really?
You're talking. I'm pretty sure. Let me.
The actor from Greatest American Hero?
Yes, that's Jason's dad.
Oh my God, this is fantastic!
And if you listen to our Deadwood Undertaker series, it's Jason. We're getting ready. He's going to read Hip Deep, the 5th book in the series, in June. We've got him lined up.
This is so exciting.
He's wonderful. He's really nice too. He's a great guy, very kind, very fun. But he does the voices, and the listeners just love him. So yeah, if you want to listen to the series, he's great. He does such a fun job with the Old West and twang. If you look at Jason, he reads a ton. He narrates a ton of books. Yeah,
no, that's a skill set, just like anything else. It's not easy to do. So that answers one of the questions. You're on Audible or audiobooks anyway.
Yes, everything's on Audible. The last one is coming, and that's, like I said, Hip Deep, which we'll be doing this. We're going to do a Kickstarter because I want to see what a Kickstarter's like and do some prizes and have some fun. So we're doing a Kickstarter starting next month. And the audiobook will probably be out in August, September. It takes a little bit, Jason has to read it, and then they do editing and they get it all ready to go. So it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that coming out. But yeah, if you like to listen to books, all of them. My narrator for the Deadwood series is Carolyn Schaefer. She's been since the beginning. She's amazing. And the listeners just love her. She'll give me chills with the creepy voices she does. I'm like, I wrote that, and she's giving me chills. It's so funny. So
whenever there's something Western, and this is weird because I'm not like the biggest Stephen King fan, but like he comes up a lot during the show. That's just how pervasive he is in culture and in, I guess, the panoply where the show originated and still resides partly. But is there any of the gunslinger in the Deadwood series?
So the Undertaker series has two of the main characters. They were freighters and gunslingers, but they ran freight with their uncle, but they are also good with the gun, and they each have their unique thing, and that was something my husband had dreamed up since the start. He loved the idea of these two guys that were kind of gunslingers that were almost brother-like. They, orphans kind of raised together by this freighter guy way back when, and so they're a lot of fun. They're they have their big fans amongst the listeners. So yeah, there's some of that. Now the whole gunslinger, I think I've read that. I watched is that the one with the Idris Elba?
Yeah, but let's not talk about the movie.
But I read it long ago because I'm old. So I read it a long time ago, and then I watched the more recent lately. And was kind of like, oh yeah, that's right. So not quite like that feel. Like
someone is redoing the Dark Tower series, and that someone is Mike Flanagan from the Flaniverse. So did Dr. Sleep and Midnight Mass, Bly Manor, Hill House. So should be good. Should finally be one that's done justice, and I think they've greenlighted for it to be multi-series, which is really what you need to do with something like that.
But the big thing I really want to impart with people is right. Deadwood. Deadwood's real. Deadwood is a real place. It has history. We incorporate as much of the history as we can. We do add a little bit of stuff, but a lot of what you read in our books is true to, what happened. So I always, we get to do fun stuff like this August. I'll do History on the Lawn in Deadwood, invited by the Deadwood Historical Society, because we bring enough history into our stories that it's awesome. We get to see how they open their archives that we can look at stuff. It's wonderful, but it's a lot of fun. And if you liked HBO Deadwood, we're giving you more of Deadwood. Not the same flavor. It's a little different, of course, because that was a different genre mix. But still, Deadwood was supernatural. We have fans across, male, female, whatever, all kinds from all areas. It's just a lot of fun. The thing from the start, what I wanted to do with writing was to give people some fun entertainment to go away from. Now, it's not saying it's all lollipops and cotton candy fun, but it's fun. It's escape to something different and entertaining, but yet based on a real place.
Yeah, well, horror is a common genre of entertainment, so I think that we understand that not all entertainment needs to be, like you said, unicorns and lollipops, or they could be terrifying unicorns that are trying to eat and kill you.
Some new terrifying unicorn thing, and I do like lollipops and cotton candy, and so I like that stuff too.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not that unusual, though. Maybe for once you get past a certain age, it gets more unusual. But popcorn, I mean, there's a reason everyone likes popcorn. I mean, it's delicious and and it's addictive at the same time.
Yes,
it's pretty bad addiction too, as a matter of fact. All right, so. What else do you want to tell me about this series or the other series, or what didn't we get to because of my meanderings? What questions should I have asked you that I didn't?
I don't know. I feel like we covered a lot of great stuff here. And we covered that they're in Audible, they're ebooks, they're print. You can order online through my store, and we'll autograph them and send you extra promo fun stuff. We do that a lot. So, yeah, you can. I have a bookshelf here in my office that's full of different, art stock, and then we have stuff elsewhere. So, otherwise, they're all ongoing series. Till I get hit by a bus, these things will keep going.
Or a ghost.
We do. It's not just. Oh, here's one. If you're going to read one of the series, it is best if you start at book one. You can pick up elsewhere. I give you enough background on what the main plot of each book is that you could say, okay, I can get what's going on here, no problem. But it's going to ruin the previous books, some of the mysteries. You're going to get answers that you might not want to know. You might want to start from the beginning. So they're not like a Agatha Christie standalone type of thing. They really do. It is a world. In Violet Parker's world, for example, we go sometimes just a week or two between books in the story world time. So this whole all these 14 books, I think the first book starts in July. We're in February. So that's how, the time has gone.
She's had a busy few months.
Yes, it's really, you're immersed into that world and stuff is happening and building and getting, growing quickly. So it's better if you do read from the beginning, mainly because, like I said, it's going to ruin earlier books if you start later.
Yeah, it's a series, not an anthology. It's like Jason and the Argonauts. A lot happens in a small amount of time. Jason and the Argonauts took place over like 4 months, which is like, I don't think they could travel that far in that kind of time. But then again, I guess they were demigods, so,
one of the most amazing, and it's not, I know we talked about Stephen King, pervasiveness, but his book, what was that book? Is it The Regulators? That happened within a day. And it's this thick book. He put it out, and it's all within like 24 hours. The whole thing happens. And I read that long ago, and I remember thinking, wow, I don't know that I've experienced just one day. Now we got, what was that? Kiefer Sutherland had 24 hours
24
show.
Yeah.
Yeah, 24. And wow, talk about intense. I had to just chill out after watching that 24. That was intense. But so now, we've seen that more. But when I was a kid, it was something newer kind of idea for me anyway. I hadn't.
Oh, it was definitely new. I mean, after a few seasons, 24, like, first of all, I mean, I was just like, the government is so riddled with holes. We deserve what we're coming with, and then when I found myself rooting for China to kill Kiefer Sutherland, I knew that the series wasn't for me. And the thing that might have taken me the most out of it is that all this counterterrorism takes place in LA, and never once does he get stuck in traffic. Ever. Doesn't even encounter a traffic jam. Doesn't have to go to the side of the road. Come on now.
I love, The Rookie is fun. That's a not newer. It's got like 8 seasons or something. But they never get stuck in traffic either.
Of course not, because he's a rookie with excellent luck. I suppose.
I can't even drive to the coast, without hitting something. Stuck for a while.
I'm in frickin' suburban, Baltimore, which is not the most populous city in the world. I get traffic here, and I'm not, trying to save the world or anything. And believe me, if I was, I'd fail. I mean, goodbye world.
I can't get through traffic.
That's right. It'd be done. They'd be like, oh wait, that smells good. Oh, McDonald's fries. I mean, I'd be like MacGruber. I'm in the drive-through, and the world blows up. Shit.
I once had an apartment just right next to our McDonald's. That was killer. That was hard.
Oh yeah, that would be hard.
Man, it smelled so good sometimes.
Yeah, that's so bad for you, and I don't care. I am I am totally believe that food dyes are terrible for you, but what's the purpose of Fruit Loops and High C and Hawaiian Punch, without the colors? I mean, didn't we all get upset when, was it Bloomberg or de Blasio tried to outlaw the size of sodas in New York City? And we're like, come on, man. I mean, and most of us weren't even in New York City now.
Right.
Yeah, we know.
You'd be thinking, Fruit Loops, what would it be? Wheat Loops? Different shades of tan?
I don't know what it'd be. It'd be Cheerios. I mean, flavored Cheerios. I mean, or and even those probably have a color, to them to make them tan. They probably just be some color of gray. They probably be the color of ash. Be like, hey, the after the bubonic plague loops, yay!
Like the old Simpsons. Homer has a Subway sandwich, a huge, 6-foot sandwich that he keeps eating until it starts to make him sick, and it's gray goop.
Homer's just
that he's eating on.
He's fantastic. Homer has the gut biome of a vulture.
It's incredible.
Nothing affects him.
A waffle around a stick of butter.
Yes, he's an American icon. That is for sure. I don't know. I mean, everyone's like, we've never been sicker. We've never lived longer. We're sicker because we know all these different conditions. They always existed. Maybe there are new ones too, but they don't seem to stop us from crossing the 8 billion mark on the planet. I mean,
right. My speaking of physical geography teacher in college, he had his appendix out, and he said, I always go through life now thinking I'd be dead. 100 some years ago, I'd be dead.
Yeah.
By now. So every day now is good for me because I lived past appendix that should have taken me out.
Yeah. I'm not saying that medical technology and we shouldn't learn from research and science and stuff, but also, I mean, come on. Kids and me and bachelors need Fruit Loops and things and Fruit Loops. And my wife's from another country and she's probably not going to leave to visit that other country for a while for reasons. But when she used to go, she would go for 2 or 3 months. And I'm buying a lot of cereal then. And I'm not buying healthy cereals. I'm buying sugar cereals. I'm buying kid cereals. I'm buying Honey Smacks and Corn Pops and Applejack.
Chocula, Blueberry, Franken, during the holiday time.
I totally bought all those during the holiday, but I didn't open them. I kept them as collectors, and then I was realized nobody collects these things. And I have in my memory some 4th cereal that was with a werewolf that was cinnamon. And I can't seem to get verification. It's my own little private Mandela.
There must have been. It's ringing a bell for me.
Good. I really, maybe it was regional. I don't know. I'm in New York. We get everything first, or I'm not there now.
We're testing it on your market more, but
well, it worked.
I when I was a kid, one of the cool things my parents would do is each of us kids got to pick out one cereal a week that was not good, a sugar cereal.
Yeah.
And so I got to experiment every week with a different, sugar cereal. And that was a blast.
Right. And if each of you can make you can make that last the whole week. You never have to eat the total.
We didn't share very well. Nah, don't touch my stuff.
Well, you can still make it last. You can make it last most of the week, and the other days you get the those little cinnamon waffles or the French toast sticks.
Yeah, we would have a healthy cereal. She was a nurse. She always made sure we had all the good foods, vegetables, fruits and veggies. And then we'd have our sugar cereal. That was like our treat.
Yeah, total.
So,
or cornflakes or something, boring like that.
Fruity Pebbles, coat it with milk, make it that big Fruity Pebbles, slightly crunchy goo. Man, I could just chow that stuff so fast out of the big bowls.
Yeah, what's Fruity Pebbles going to be now? Nothing. It's going to look like maggots.
Yes. Oh, boy. I ate it down.
I'm really not happy about that at all. And it's like, not like, I just think that it's like taking people's like childhoods away from them. And I think the whole parental rights thing has gone a little bit too far, but not on that. You shouldn't get to say, no, my kids don't get to read 1984 and Huck Finn or whatever. But to say they don't get to eat, sugar cereals as a treat just because food dye is bad for you, or they can't drink Hawaiian Punch. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we each have our own lines, and
so I'm Gen X.
Me too.
You pay attention to that stuff, and my kids. We waited a while to have kids, so my kids are the Gen Z crowd. And what's really interesting is they don't care about. They're like the Gen X new to me. Because they're like, what? This is not, they don't pay attention to a lot of stuff like that. They're more, give us some sugar cereal here. We'll take that, We're aware of the responsibility and what it could do to our bodies, but please, can we get this sugar cereal now? Because we try to, this isn't good for this, this, and this. Okay, great. We've been taught of what's right, what's wrong. In this whatever context, but
sure, if you want to be gluten-free or vegan when you're an adult, either choose to be it, or if you want to choose to be it when you're younger, choose to be it, or try and do it. But whatever, I don't know. Maybe,
it's a different. I don't always take stock to labels, but there is generational things change, and it's been kind of interesting. I have family that's in different each different generation, and it's just kind of fun. I love the Gen Z crowd. They're a blast for me. My kids are just doing their thing. Maybe it's the Gen Xer in me going, hey, just do your thing. I don't know.
I don't know either. The most Gen X thing I remember from being Gen X is Degeneration X from wrestling. Wrestling has just impacted way too much of my life. All right. So last question on this, and I think we turned off once I got onto the food dye thing, is if there is a song that you associate with this conversation, your books, the Deadwood books in particular, Deadwood itself, that you would like to be the outro to this, what song might that be?
Oh boy, that's really hard on a Sunday morning brain to come up with a song. Oh, I don't know, something weird, meaning like weird in the title. I was thinking, the weird science themes and different stuff like that from the 80s.
Well, Weird Science's theme is Weird Science. Though your book really has nothing to do with science.
No, I know. It's just, we've talked about everything in the show. We've covered geography, geology. We talked about the gases, helium. I went into my helium thing for just a moment.
Only just a moment. I left you alone for most of the helium thing.
So, I don't know. It's just been a wonderful mix of...
Do you have any of the songs recorded from the books that you said that your husband likes?
No, we don't. Jason Colpia singing that stuff. It's only a couple, like a little bits. And even in the line, my husband wrote it, and then he has the character say, that was a weird ditty. That was a crappy ditty, type of thing. So he even plays on it himself. So... oh boy, I don't know.
I'll find something. Don't worry.
Find something fun that's kind of a mix of crazy, a little bit of Old West mix with some, I don't know, spooky stuff. I have no idea. I'm not very good at it. I flunked that question.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, we're not going to leave you on a flunk. So once again, plug where people can find your stuff so that you can leave it on a high note.
The easiest place is to go to my website, iancharles.com. And I have links if you go to the contact me or about page, one of those. And if you go down, you can see all the different social media stuff I'm on. I used to be more active on some of the bigger ones like Facebook and Instagram, but I'm kind of miffed. at all the monetization they're trying to do constantly. So I've got a Patreon now, and I'm on YouTube a lot. I'm posting shorts and all kinds of fun stuff that I'm building over there. So I really recommend you go to either Ann Charles' YouTube page, or you can check out Patreon and just join for free and see what's going on. But you can go to Facebook. I've been there 15 years, and there's a lot of stuff. You go back, unless they've decided to clear out the old stuff, like they talk about it.
And it's Ann with no E. ANN.
ANNCharles.com. I have also, if you go to the books tab, there's all the different books and links to the different online retailers, as well as my online store. And I always tell people, if they're, well, I like your books, I always say, well, go to one of the online retailers and read the reviews. Read the good reviews, read the bad reviews. In the bad, they're going to say she cusses in this book, and there's this in it and this, and that's good. If that's not your cup of tea, then you don't want to read it. But you're going to get a good idea of what the story's about.
But if you like Fruit Loops, Hawaiian Punch, and cussing, these books are for you.
Yes. They're not cozies. That's the thing I always specify. And I have nothing against cozy mysteries. It's a wonderful genre. I just don't write cozies because I have language, darker topics sometimes, a little more violence.
Well, different people have different cozies. I know people who find the Halloween movies or Texas Chainsaw Man, that's their cozy. So,
yes.
That,
people say she writes, oh, you should read her book. She writes cozy mysteries. I'm like, wait. It's not quilt. There's not bake shops. There's, you know what I mean? There's just different. A lot of times cozies have themes that they go around, and the biggest thing is.
But you shouldn't write cozy mysteries because it wouldn't be good, because it's not what you write. It's not your thing.
I'm a little dark comedy.
Yeah.
That's more my thing.
Let Nora Roberts write cozy. I really have no idea if she does or she doesn't. It's just one of the only names I know that seems to have like 9,000 books.
Yeah, she is a ton. She's amazing.
Imagine if it turns out she's really just Stephen King.
That's funny. Stephen King's pending.
Exactly right. All right. Well, Ann Charles, pleasure meeting you. We have the Deadwood series, Violet Parker. We have the Deadwood Undertaker. We have and then we've got the leads. We've got something going on down south of the border with the Mayans. We have French attacking the Pyrenees or the Templars or something.
We have all kinds of stuff. It's crazy.
We've got we have Woden fighting Odin when the Norse and the Germanic start to fight each other. Freya against Frigga, the whole thing. We've got like mini Ragnarok. So, and maybe one day you'll explain what the Aesir and the Vanir were doing, because we just sort of dumped in the middle of that story, thanks to some people not writing down their tales. All right, sounds good. And you've left me with the job of deciding what the song is going to be. So, folks, I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I used to pick the song, so I will dust that skill set off and try to find something that's creepy, Western, but frivolous at the same time.
All of that together. Yes. Good luck with that.
Yes, thank you. It's probably going to end up being like Ghost Riders in the Sky. I'm just telling you that right now. Fun. Okay, well, there you go. All right, so there we came upon one. All right, folks, if you're here because you're a fan of Ann and you have never been on this show before, just subscribe to Garden of Thought. You can find it on every platform. Apple, Spreaker, Spotify, Podbean, Amazon, Audible, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio. I mean, listen, if you need to keep going from there, and you'll probably get like 3 shows a week. So get one like this, maybe even 2 like this, depending on what you consider this to be. I differentiate the weekend show as sort of like if you turn on the History Channel at 7 p.m. and you left it on until 4 a.m., that kind of landscape. And then the midweek show is, sort of more like your old magazine shows, like 48 Hours, where you might be interviewing a person, or like a segment of 60 Minutes, where sometimes it's more the pop culture human interest, sometimes it's more deep dive, but it's more of a magazine show. And then my personal favorite, no offense to anyone, but it's because it's the Gospel of Thomas, formerly Book of Black, depending on who my co-host is. And that's where I My co-host was PJ Black, and maybe again he's just very elusive, or Mr. Thomas, both professional wrestlers, and we talk to people in wrestling, but generally about non-wrestling stuff. So of course it's my favorite because I've been watching wrestling since I'm like 4 years old. I'm like 56 years old, and it's fun to mix and mingle with celebrity, even if it's semi-celebrity in a very, very niche celebrity area, and it's a lot of fun because we generally don't talk about wrestling, but even when we do, it's insider stuff. So even if you're not interested in wrestling, it's still interesting because wrestling is it's on the biggest stage and the smallest stage simultaneously. It's like the weirdest ecosystem of everything in one place. So anyway, you'll get those 3 shows. I've talked enough. It's probably going to be Ghost Riders in the Sky, but maybe not. I reserve the right to find something creepier, more interesting, and shorter. All right. Everyone, thanks for listening.
A dozen women in a dozen ways, but I can't recall their names. Tried at first to make it last, but all hearts are made to break. I took my licks of just laying bricks, and I worked the land for a spell. And all I got is what they gave, and a couple good stories to tell. I'm on a last train to nowhere, and it's running right on time. I'm in no rush to get down, right until the end of the night. I'm on a last train to nowhere, just like I've always been. I was raised and born there, and I'm going back again. Hey, yeah, we pulled out the station. I knew where I was bound. It's a one-way track, and no turning back. There ain't no turning around.